Greetings, Rasmanites. Figured that was the most appropriate way to start this episode, since we're honoring the man of the hour, because today we are finally going to do the review for Empire Building, the 2009 album by my good friend Zaranyzerak. Today, on the Razman's Reality. Now, as many of you are fully aware, there's probably no bigger supporter than yours truly of Zaranyzerak. From the way that I do this show, very similar to the Multimedia Chronicles, to just personality-wise, Sean and I are pretty much 7 years difference twins of each other. So when I got these albums, you knew this review was coming. The only puzzling thing to you is probably, why is it taking so long? So I'm going to explain that real quick, and then we'll get into this review. The reason for it is really twofold. The first of which is, I've never really... Sorry, I took the album down there. I'm going to try to hold the albums up as much as I can throughout the course of this video, because I always tend to get the worst YouTube stills, but because of the shape of a jewel case as opposed to the shape of a Blu-ray or DVD case, can't really hold it up in front of my face the entire time, because then it gets to where I can't really see the camera, which kind of defeats the purpose. Anyway, the reason that this is taking me so long to do is, A, how does one really go about reviewing an album? Because an album is not like a Blu-ray or a DVD or even a film in the cinema, because you don't have plot, acting, presentation, etc., etc., etc. to go off of. Reviewing an album is pretty much 100% opinion and not 60% opinion. So when thinking about that, I started to wonder, what would be the most effective way to get that opinion across? Is it just rambling on and on and on about how great Sean is? Well, there'll be a lot of that, but I didn't want that to be the entire 16 minutes, counting grace period, if we go that long. So what I've chosen to do is just highlight a few of my favorite tracks that I had permission to use. And what I mean by that is, in the case of Empire Building, there were a lot of tracks on here that Sean requested that I not use in the course of my review, because they've been featured prominently in his video work. So when you're paying tribute to someone's work, you obviously want to honor their wishes, because you feel honored by being able to review it. So my all-time favorite tracks, which are things like Super Mega Transform, Shaving Day, the Multimedia Chronicles, and the Multimedia Chronicles retro themes, those tracks I can't really use. So again, these are just some of my favorite tracks, and what we're going to do is, I'm going to tell you the name of the track, tell you a little bit about it, and then you're actually going to hear it, if not in full, as close to in full as time will allow me to do. So the first track we're going to highlight is a song called Spy Chase, which you may remember I also featured in my last tribute to Sean called The Truth Is Zaranyzerak. The reason I chose to highlight Spy Chase is because it's a song that really reminds me of my teenage years. And going down to the local arcade every Saturday or Sunday at the mall and just spending $10 or $15 worth of allowance money every weekend playing games with awesome 8-bit style soundtracks. And it also reminds you of being a spy, of the sound of laser guns and all of the cool spy equipment that spies can use as they were presented back in the 80s and 90s, and I think that's why Sean went with this sound. So let's have a listen to Spy Chase. By that first graphic, that is the one thing that I want to say is I apologize to Sean. I really tried to go out of my way to do some great graphical work for people to look at while they were listening to your music, but unfortunately I'm just not very good at cool 3D for whatever reason, probably CP and my handshakes, and my version of Sony Vegas doesn't have nearly as many bells and whistles as yours does. So I did the best I could, but it actually probably worked out better to not have a great visual representation because you can focus more on the music. At least I hope that's the way it comes across. Now, the next song that we're going to highlight is a song called John Fisher Meets the Reaper. I chose this song because I just really love the sound of it. The way that it really puts you on the edge of your seat and you're like, oh my god, where's the Reaper? What's going on with John? Is he gonna get sliced and diced at any moment? I mean, I really, when I was listening to this song and looking at the title, I imagined this was something that Sean, he's never talked about it in a video to my knowledge, unless it was in a MMC Retro episode that I somehow missed, or in a future one that hasn't yet been released. But when I saw the title for John Fisher Meets the Reaper, I imagined that this was a track that Sean originally was going to use for an independent film project that for whatever reason fell through. So as I'm listening to this track, that's what's going through my head. Sean's running from the Reaper. What's he running from? Why is he scared? Why is he running for his life? And the tension just began to mount all the way through this song. So I don't think we can get the full 7 minutes and change in, but let's listen to as much as we can of John Fisher Meets the Reaper. the original unreleased version of Regrets. And the question that I have for Sean about this song is, why did you change Regrets? Why did you not like this original version? Because myself personally, I really enjoy the sound of this original version. I loved Regrets as well, but I really, really like the sound of this original version better. So let's have a listen to the original version of Regrets. So as one can see, ladies and gentlemen, Zaranyzerak, along with his talent for reviewing, his knowledge of the home media, and just being a videographer in general, and a great one, he is a very, very underrated musician. He did things with electronic sounds in this album that I just found to be absolutely amazing. And I honestly don't know what else to say, really, other than the fact that, Sean, you did an amazing job with this album. I highly recommend to anyone who hasn't yet picked up Empire Building, go out and do so. And I guess the perfect way to close this review out would be to say that, Sean, I think you succeeded in the purpose of this album, which, and its title, If I Have Your Brainwaves Tapped In Right. I believe the reason that you chose the title Empire Building is because you wanted a title that would best express the progression of this empire that you're trying to build, that is Zaranyzerak and is the Multimedia Chronicles. And I think you succeeded in doing that. I think every piece of music on here is an accurate representation of everything you have been through up until the point of this album's release. So I give Empire Building 10 out of 10, 5 stars, whatever rating system you want to use, all the way across the board. It's great stuff, and I honestly didn't know how it could get any better after listening to Empire Building until I got to Remodulized. And so we are absolutely going to review Remodulized next time on the Razman's Reality. Until then, this is reality according to the Razman and Razman style. It's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.